What's going on, everybody? I'm Jerry, and today I'm going to be going over the top 5 trades most likely to happen this season before the trade deadline. So, a lot of buzz starting to come through with the October 31st deadline getting closer and closer. And I did a video previously on the top 10 trades that I thought should happen and that I actually said need to happen, just mainly more because of fits and a little bit of what I was hearing. This one is more of like actually there has been talk from the organizations that this team wants to trade this player away. This team shows interest in this team. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's just get right into it. So starting off, we have Jerry Jeudy. I put the most likely team as the Panthers, only because I saw a lot between the Panthers and the Cowboys. I put the Panthers as the favorite because I feel like the Cowboys, year in and year out, try to put in, they'll say, oh, we're looking to, trade for this person. I just don't see them doing in-season trades. I feel like it's all hyped up and it never happens. The Panthers openly said that they're looking for a wide receiver one, although with the emergence of Adam Thielen, that has looked good. I feel like that could be a good place for Jeudy where he can kind of restart his career. And, he hasn't had a lot of success in Denver, and he definitely seems like he needs to relocate. You maybe learn something from Adam Thielen over there at least, and maybe revive your career with a young quarterback in Bryce Young. Talked about the Cowboys. The Patriots and the Giants are really just because they need a wide receiver, and it seems like neither of them are really going to be a contender, so they want a young quarterback that can grow with the team. Jerry Jeudy was Mac Jones's guy back at Alabama, so that makes a lot of sense to me. And then the Giants they need a wide receiver one, so that's why they're in there. The value, I put it round 4 to 6. I kind of went back and forth. Originally, I looked at the Claypool trade, and I went, realistically, they're trading back 10 to 15 picks to get Claypool, but his situation, they were already telling him not to come to practice, and it just didn't seem... It seemed like they were going to cut him, and they went, oh, we can move up around from Miami? Sure, let's do it. So that's what they did. I think if the Broncos really don't want to trade for him, but one of these teams on the left do really want to trade for him, I think, you could get in that 4 to 5 range. If it gets close to the deadline, they're like, what, we're done with this guy. I don't think Jerry Jeudy's going to be a cuttable. I don't think he's going to get cut. But if they could get a 6th for him, I think they would do it. So that's there. And then the likelihood I put as medium just because I think there's more talk this year than the previous years, although it tends to get hyped up and doesn't happen. Next up, excuse me, we have James Conner. I put the most likely team, the Cowboys, for this one because I have seen buzz that they want to trade for him. It does appear that they are missing Ezekiel Elliott, not for him specifically, but just that style back, a little bit more of a short yardage power back. They did their test this year to see if Tony Pollard could be the bell cow back, and he's still a talented running back, but he definitely looks a lot better with when he's a counterpart. So I think James Conner could be involved there. The Ravens, the Buccaneers, and the Bills are all just kind of teams that when you look at them, they're struggling in the run game. Obviously, the Ravens not as much because you still have Lamar Jackson. I feel like just with James Conner's versatility in all 3 of these offenses, I feel like that would be awesome for him to help his career. And then just a better fit. If the Cardinals end up going into a tank mode, they're clearly not going to be a contender by any means. And Mercado's looked better, so I think getting younger, still having a talented running back, I think that's why it shows a lot of reason to do the trade. I put the value in 4 to 6 because I think this one's one that could change as the season goes on. Like if somebody offers a 4th, this week or next week, I think the Cardinals take it. If it gets close to the deadline, they go, you know what, we'd like to get something for him. Then I think you get into that 6th round range. And I put medium to high just because I've heard more talk about it. Probably about as much as the Jeudy trade, but it just never seems to happen with him. So James Conner's on the list. Next up, this one, actually just before the video, Jalen Johnson, I read from Adam Johns, a local Chicago reporter, that the Bears are not likely to trade Jalen Johnson. The only reason I still have him in the video, I moved the likelihood down from medium to low, was because Ryan Poles did say that he was openly shopping Jalen Johnson and Eddie Jackson. Maybe he didn't like what he heard, and isn't going to be doing that. But the Bears have seen an emergence of their younger cornerbacks and have looked better in that regard. Jalen Johnson has had the injury concerns. He doesn't really force turnovers like the team would like. So although he has been a lockdown corner, that's any reason at all to trade him. I put the value at round 3 just because I think I don't think they would take any lower than that. I think it actually could be higher, especially with seeing that they're not likely to trade him. If they go, oh, we can get a second round from, maybe a worse team like a lower tier team this year for him, then they might go, oh, okay, we'll listen. But I don't think it's going to happen anymore very much. But because Poles said he was shopping him, I felt like it had to be in the video. There was talk about it. Most likely, again, I put the Cowboys because they have openly been looking for a replacement to Trevon Diggs. And while I don't think he really fits that mold because he's been more of that lockdown corner where there's no, he doesn't want to be targeted. He isn't that, Trevon Diggs where maybe not as great in coverage, but a great playmaker on the ball and making plays to get turnovers, I think. So that's why I don't think he really fills that role, but I think he's probably going to be one of the best cornerbacks that are still available, aside from possibly Patrick Surtain, which I did mention in the last video. Other options, we have Steelers, 49ers, and Vikings, just because they've had a lot of struggles in the DB room. I think the Steelers were the most likely. 49ers really don't have any flaws. The only reason I really put them in there is because that's their weakest link. And I think if for some reason the Bears did get close to the deadline and they were able to offer like a low pick for him, he is a lockdown corner, and to have him on that team would be nuts. The team that trades for him is going to be expected to pay for him, but I think the 49ers are one of the few teams that could use him on a rental this year. I guess maybe the Cowboys too, just to make that team better. And then the Vikings would probably be more interested in having to pay him just because they haven't really been great in the cornerback department. So again, values around 3. I think it even could be a 2, and then the likelihood is low. It was medium just because of those recent talks from Adam Johns in the Chicagoland area. Next up, we have Saquon Barkley, who, to me, it seems they're kind of going back and forth on what I've heard about Saquon. I've seen him in some recent trade talks on ESPN, and I think he's lost some trade value because of the injuries. I think there's still injury concerns with him, but there are teams that are going to need running backs. You see, I got the same teams as when James Conner was on the screen. It's just a different order. I think the Ravens would be more inclined to trade for him. They'd be looking more for that, every down back, and having him and Lamar Jackson in the backfield would be absolutely nuts. And I've seen a mock trade for that as well. Again, I don't know how likely that is. Anybody can put out a mock trade. Just seemed the most likely. Round 2, I was thinking round 1, but people don't seem to value running backs as much. And with the injury concerns, I think it could be a 2, maybe even a 3. And then the other options are obviously the Cowboys, who would be kind of doing the same thing that James Conner would be doing, where it not the same way, but if you have a guy like Tony Pollard who can still make big plays, but then you have Saquon who can be the every down back. Even if he gets injured, you have a nice security blanket in Pollard, so that makes sense. And then the Buccaneers and the Bills are, again, just another team that they really just need help in the running department. And Saquon, if he ends up being available, seems like they have to be on the list of potential targets. So again, round 2 value, medium likelihood. I think he could be traded, but it's kind of up in the air. I think we'll have a better idea once we get closer to the deadline, but that is Saquon Barkley. And then the last one, final one, Danielle Hunter. I've heard so many talks about Danielle Hunter. At this point, it seems like he is being traded, and he is still a dominant force. The Vikings aren't really a contender. If you look at their schedule coming up, they're playing the Bears this week, but then they play the 49ers, another tough game the following week, and they could very well be like 2-6, getting closer to the deadline, or 2-5, however you want to look at it. So I think they could be wanting to offload these valuable players. I know it was stated in a previous trade talk that they wanted at least a first, so I think that's still what they'd be asking, especially with his good play so far this year. And then the number one trade candidate, looking to trade for him that I've seen is the Jaguars, who really need help. The last notable edge rusher they've had is Yannick Ngakoue, and he's bounced around the league since. And I think they could really benefit from Danielle Hunter. And I've actually seen like mock trades that seem to be real, and it seems very likely that it could happen. It seems very likely that the Vikings will trade him, and it just makes the most sense to me. I've seen mock trades for the Falcons. I think the Lions would absolutely love to have him, opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, which would be nuts. I can't even imagine. I would hate that. I put them on here because I have seen rumors of it. It just doesn't make sense to me to do an interdivision trade, especially to know then that the Vikings are going to have to go up against Aiden Hutchinson and Danielle Hunter twice a year. It doesn't seem very smart. And then the last team I put that I did see a couple little pieces of information on the 49ers, having him across from Bosa would be wild. So the two most likely, I think, are definitely the Jaguars. Then the Falcons seemed kind of likely. But then the Lions and the 49ers are really just in there because I had seen talks and the idea behind it. I mean, across from Bosa or Hutchinson, that's just freaky. I mean, you can see how strong Danielle Hunter is and how dominant he is. So being across from those two would be scary. So put the value again is at round 1+ because it seems like it could be a second, a third, and a fifth, or whatever you want to value, a 1 and a sixth, or however you want to look at it. It seems like it's definitely going to be more than a 1, and I think it could even be close to like a first and a third if he continues to play well this year, and if the Vikings maybe try not to show their hand as much and try to make it look like they're going to keep him. So try to increase value. I still think the likelihood is high because I'm confident the Vikings are going to have a bad record. Again, I don't think by the trade deadline, there's no way they have more than 3 wins to me, and probably more likely that it's 2, and they're going to want to start rebuilding. So Danielle Hunter is their biggest value piece other than if you want to include Justin Jefferson. I think makes Danielle Hunter a very tradable player. And the most tradable on this list today. Last thing, I just have a little trade tracker here. So I have the done deals. Van Jefferson went to the Falcons. Randy Gregory went to the 49ers. Claypool to the Dolphins. J.C. Jackson back to the Patriots. Cam Akers to the Vikings. And Frank Clark was surprisingly cut. If I was to pick a place for him to go, I think it would be the Bears or even back to the Seahawks. I've seen a lot of Seahawks fans that think that they want him back, and that's really where he played best. Played fairly well on the 49ers, on the Chiefs too. But I'd love to see him go to the Bears. The Bears need an edge rusher, and all of a sudden Frank Clark and Yannick Ngakoue doesn't sound too bad for Chicago. And I put a little to no chance over there too because I put Justin Fields in the last video. I put Mike Evans in the last video. And it seems like at this point, Justin Fields is not going to be traded. These past 2 weeks have been career days for him. And he has looked a lot better passing. Haven't even really seen him run much, which we've mentioned before. He's one of the best in the league at it. And then Mike Evans, shortly after I posted that video, the Buccaneers stated that they are not interested in trading him at all. So again, if you get a team that's wide receiver desperate, trying to make a run, and they make the right offer, I guess he could be, but not very likely in my personal opinion, and I don't think there's really any chance at this point, so I think Mike Evans is going to stay over there in Tampa. But that's it, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and then if you have any other trades that you've heard about or any information like that, put it down in the comments below. If maybe you're more of a fan of a certain team than I am, and you noticed that there is somebody that's likely, I'll probably be putting them in the next video. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.